Hi everyone, my name is Matthew Hassler. I'm the pastor of Grace Life Church in Pueblo, Colorado, and we planted our church in 2016. And so in this video, what we're going to try to do is we're going to sort of paint a picture of what it looks like to get your church started. And so in this video, we are assuming you have access to a document I helped to create. It's called Legal Steps to Setting Up Your Church. We're going to reference that document a lot. Now, I'm not going to repeat the information. I'm assuming you can read that, you understand that, you know what that means. But I'm going to supplement it and just try to paint a little bit of a picture of what it looks like as you go through this process. Now understand, I am by no means a legal expert or a lawyer. I'm just a guy who happened to have gone through these steps not too long ago and want to share some of that information with you to help you get your church started. Let's go ahead and begin. All right, everyone. Step number one, as you see it on your document, is having your first leadership meeting. And so you're going to pull your leaders together. You're going to sit down at a table just like this. You're going to have your first meeting. And at that meeting, you're going to elect officers as described on that sheet. And this matters because this is your board of governance. So as far as the IRS is concerned, these are the officers that are helping you run the church. Now, don't worry if you have to make changes. You can change the officers later on. That's not a big deal as long as you do that with an official meeting. And this is important that you have official minutes with it. Someone should always record some basic minutes every time you meet, and you want to record the names of those elected officers should you ever need it again. But believe me, sometimes it doesn't matter. But I've personally seen it in situations where we've had to go back to those minutes and see who was elected for different purposes. So make sure you have a file somewhere, store those somewhere where you can access it later. But what's really being talked about in this step, and probably the bigger picture, if you're not thinking about this already as a church planner, is you need to start recruiting people to the mission and the vision of your church. You're going to call that your core team. And then out of that core team, you want to find individuals that you see leadership potential in. And out of that, you're going to invite them to join what's called the provisional leadership team. These aren't elders necessarily, but they're people who understand what the church is about. They're going to help share the load and the burden, carry out different ministries. They're going to love you, support you, pray for you. Those are the people that you're after. Because ultimately, what you want to do is you want to fill these chairs here with those types of people. People are going to love you. People are going to pray for you, care for you, and share that mission and vision of the church with you. Because without that, none of this, all the strategy, all that stuff, none of that actually matters. That's why these meetings are so important. All right, everyone, step number 2 is getting your EIN, which stands for Employment Identification Number. Short step, real easy to do. We have the link down on that form. You can click that, or you can go to irs.gov and fill out what's called an SS4, and it's going to instantly kick you out a document that's got that number on it, that employment identification number. Now that's an important number because it goes on everything, on all of your documents. It is so important. So you're going to want to save that, keep it in a place real handy. It goes on your bank account, it goes on your payroll if you ever want to own property or pay insurance. Your EIN goes on all of that. Now, you might think that just because you have a sign and a name, that's enough to get you legally recognized as a church, and maybe because you're meeting in your house basement and having some worship services, you're a church. Listen, theologically, all that stuff has great value, but as far as the government is concerned, it's not official until you get your EIN. So get that number and keep that handy. All right, everyone, step number 3, getting your 501c3 status. Now, what this is a particular registration that goes to nonprofits that allows them to take money, and the donors, the people who gave you that money, get a tax benefit in return. And so this document and this status is important for a couple of reasons. One, if you're trying to raise money, either through donors or even by taking an offering in your church, you are going to want that status. It's going to allow your people to give and receive that tax benefit. So that's super important. But then in addition to that, if you want to move forward to the point where you don't have to pay sales tax, which is also a benefit of being a church, you need that 501c3 status set up first. Now what's great about this is pretty easy for you to do. You can see the steps on that document. You're going to contact your current superintendent. He's going to send you a document. You fill that out. It goes to the national office, and they're going to put you under the umbrella of the Evangelical Free Church, and boom, you've got that status. And this is amazing because otherwise this is a long and difficult process to get this very important document and this very important status. But because you're a part of something bigger than yourself, because there's all of these churches working together and resourcing one another, we have that advantage and can get you that document, and you can have that benefit for you, your church, and your donors. Step number 4, registering your nonprofit with the state of Colorado. Now, you've already registered with the federal government. That's why you have an EIN. But in addition to that, you have to register in your home state. So on the document, you can click the link. It's going to take you to a form. You're going to fill that out. You're going to pay a $50 fee. You're going to have the attachments on it, and it's going to kick you out as a registered entity with the state of Colorado. Now, I know at this point, if you're following all of these steps, you might be thinking, this is a little ridiculous. This is a lot of steps. Why am I doing so much paperwork? Let me be honest with you. Sometimes it is a little ridiculous. Sometimes it is a lot of steps. But here's what this is ultimately about. Listen, we're a church. So as a church, we want to do things the right way. We want to follow the laws. We want to follow the legal process. And we want to be professional in the way that we do things. That's what this step boils down to. Listen, I know sometimes we're not detail-oriented. I know sometimes we don't like the administrative work. But this stuff matters. We want to do things the right way. So go ahead, hop on the website, fill out that form, get that paper back, and get her done. Step number 5, setting up your bank account. Now this is important because churches get accused of all sorts of financial mishandlings. We want to rise above that and avoid the appearance of evil. You need a paper trail, you need a traceable system. And unless you're planning on keeping all of your money in this little bad boy, you might want to think about a bank account to have your money in a secure place. Now all of that's important, but let me just paint for you a little picture. Johnny Church Planter wants to go set up a bank account, and that's the first thing he goes to do. He walks into a bank account and they say, okay, we need your EIN, your 501c3, and your registration with the state. And he says, I don't have that, or that, or that. That bank is going to tell you, then you can come back later. Listen, every bank has different rules and requires different things, but I actually went to 3 different banks in Pueblo, and they all told me the exact same thing. I needed to complete all of those steps before I could even do the simple step of making sure our money was secure. But once you do that, you have all those systems in place, another person you're going to make happy is your bookkeeper and your treasurer. Trust me, that's someone you want to keep happy. All right, everyone, the final step of this video, step number 6, is setting up yourself with the state as sales tax exempt. Now this is technically a step you could skip if you want, but it's going to cost you a lot of money if you do. Because as a church, you don't actually have to pay taxes on all the stuff that you're buying. And so yeah, you have to fill out some forms, you have to attach some stuff, and you have to get that done. But ultimately, if your budget kind of looks like this, you're going to want that sales tax exemption. That is going to save you some money over time. Anytime you go to Lowe's, anytime you're going to Office Depot and buying paper products, whatever you're doing, you can save your church a lot of money. And on top of that, that's just good stewardship. You want to value every dollar that those are kingdom dollars that someone has given you. You want to use those and make them stretch and go as far as they can. So you're going to want to fill that out. And then finally, always check with your city leaders and make sure that they don't have any other steps that you need to complete as well, because every city law is a little bit different as well. All right, everyone, thank you for watching the video and taking a look at that document. I hope you found those steps to be helpful. And finally, I want to say, listen, I know sometimes these are difficult processes and people get snagged along the way. Sometimes those legal things change a little bit. Listen, if at any point you're struggling, don't just sit there and struggle along. You do not have to do this by yourself. You can contact the church planting leadership team, your superintendent, any current or former church planter, and we are all in this together. We want to work together. We want to support you because we want to see your ministry thrive. And so following these steps is important, but remember, we are always with you and we are better together.